Hi there, I'm Mark Crilly. This is a follow-up to a video I did a few months ago about how to draw manga eyes. That one was all female characters' eyes. This time I'm going to do male characters' eyes, and as I did before, I'll do the drawing in time-lapse, but I'll come back to explain what I did after I'm done. So let's get to it. Okay, these are Edward Elric eyes. I'm sure a lot of you recognized that. Let me talk a little bit about what distinguishes these eyes from other eyes you might see. The main thing is the size of the pupils, quite small in relation to the rest of the cornea of the eye. This dark band here along the outside. And then leaving that space between those two quite blank. I went ahead and sort of shaded it in a little just to give it a little tone. But in the comic, you'll see often that there's no tone in here at all. And it just creates this very intense look when you leave this area of the eye quite blank with these small little dark pupils. So see if you can use a technique like that if you want to have a character that has a very intense look. Let's move on to the next pair of eyes. Okay, well, these are Ranma eyes from Ranma Half. And Rumiko Takahashi has a really wonderful way of achieving a lot. Oh, there goes my exploding black Prismacolor. This is the Prismacolor colored pencil that I tend to use for these videos a lot. Not always what I'm using for drawing all my pictures, but in any case, she gets so much done with so few lines. It really is quite incredible. But let's look at what distinguishes these eyes. Very vertical, very narrow from side to side. Notice just this one little kind of highlight left blank here, and then a sort of a highlight that opens out into the lower half of the eye, which is a really kind of an interesting technique. I don't know if I've seen too many other people do that. And otherwise, just notice the size of the pupil, or the cornea, I guess it is, in relation to the rest of the eye, really taking up a very small part, and there's all this big white space between the two. Also fairly widely spaced eyes when you're drawing in this style. Let's move on to the next one. All right, now this particular pair of eyes I took out of fruits basket, although I think this approach to drawing eyes is fairly common, at least something near to this, and you'll see it all over the place, especially in romance manga, shoujo manga, that kind of thing. So notice that these eyes are extremely horizontal, it seems to me, stretched out, pretty narrow from top to bottom. It seems like this fold of the eyelid is given quite a lot of prominence that you don't always see. And then it's coming off here at a point at the far end that is also sort of a little more exaggerated or pronounced than you see in a lot of manga. Notice how, again, we have one highlight, this time right up near the top of the eye, and then the black pupil part of it sort of does blend into a sort of black area toward the top, and we get a nice big thick black band at the bottom. In this case, the interior of the eye is fairly shaded in, and that cuts down on the sort of intensity that you saw with the Edward Elric drawing. But since I'm always pressed for time on these things, I think I'll move on to the next one and see what we can learn from that. Okay, so these are the eyes of Hiro, the main character in my manga series, Miki Falls. And I guess one of the main things that differentiates these eyes from the other ones that we've seen here today is keeping the highlight quite small. That's one thing that I gravitated towards. In the early books in the series, you'd see me messing around with all kinds of fancy highlights, but I eventually came down to keeping the highlight very small, and then creating a very dark area up here at the top that very gradually fades into a lighter area at the bottom, and that's kind of my technique for giving the eyes a sense of depth. And that's what I've been using really for both of my main characters, Hiro and Miki. Notice, and this is typical of so many eyes, that you never draw the lines here on the inside of the eye, and you often leave a little gap here on the outside as well. That's one of the cool things about manga eyes. They sort of leave things to your imagination. They don't draw every single line, and I think that's part of the appeal. Let me just pull back to show all the different eyes and maybe kind of sum things up a little before I end this video. Okay, so I just want to sort of point out one thing, because I know a lot of people will say, hey, this is not really a how-to-draw video. You've just been sort of drawing and talking about it after you're done, and it's kind of true. If you want me to do a line-by-line real how-to video on drawing one particular set of manga eyes, let me know. I'll go ahead and do that. But I wanted to give a kind of overview, as I did last time. And before we run out of time, let me quickly mention that these videos are brought to you by Miki Falls, my manga series, in the stores. I saw it in my local store just yesterday. I was very happy to see that. And the fourth and final book in the series will be out January 1st. So thanks in advance to anyone who goes out and gets a copy. And otherwise, thanks for watching the vids. I'll be back with another one real soon.